Welcome, it's Michael Murray with Benzinga, joined here today by Craig Fraser, CEO of Windtree Therapeutics. Craig, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
Oh, I'm very happy to join you, Michael. I'm doing great.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Craig. Thank you so much for being with us. Kick us off by giving us a quick overview of Windtree and what the company does.
So, Windtree is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, and we're focused on acute cardiovascular critical conditions that, with a couple late stage or advanced stage programs that are addressing really large markets that have these significant unmet needs for these really critical patients. And we have this first in class novel lead product asset called istaroxime, or ISTA for short, that has demonstrated really positive efficacy and very differentiated safety through 3 phase 2 clinical studies. And we're seeing a profile that has everybody excited, that's able to take somebody who has a failing heart and improve the cardiac function, how strong and how well their heart is working, and at the same time increase blood pressure, which is really a nice thing to have in heart failure. It's a critical thing to have in shock, which has become our lead program. And at the same time, we're improving the function of the kidneys. So it has everybody really excited. And this most recent data in particular in cardiogenic shock has created a program that also has the company and our shareholders excited because it can be a relatively fast and inexpensive program. And we've jumped on that opportunity and are moving across some clinical development that will have several clinical milestones and readouts over the next several quarters. And we're busy with business development as well. So we have a lot going on with a really experienced management team that's operating a really lean and capital efficient organization. I think that's Windtree in a nutshell. And we trade on NASDAQ, by the way, under WINT.
Outstanding. Very concise recap to get us rolling there. Now that we understand the context, your technology, let's dive into that a little bit. It centers around activating SERCA2A. Why is this so important and what makes it so significant?
Yeah, so istaroxime has a dual mechanism. And first of all, that's the first thing that makes istaroxime really novel. The fact that it works for the first time, having an agent that works in what we call both cycles of the heart, the systolic and the diastolic. The systolic being the first mechanism increasing the force of contraction with each heartbeat. And then that SERCA2A activation is the real novel mechanism. It's been a real sought after target in the world of heart failure for decades. And really, we're the first company that have really gotten this thing figured out and having an agent in the clinic with SERCA2A. And that mechanism, that part of it, works in between the heartbeats in the diastolic phase to increase the relaxation of the heart in between heartbeats. And that's when the heart fills up with blood in that period in between the heartbeats in the diastolic phase. It acts like a sponge. It pulls blood into the heart. So you end up resulting in more fill volume of blood and more calcium available for the next force of contraction. And by working in both cycles of the heart, because of that SERCA2A, we're attributing that mechanism, in fact, to what we're seeing with the differentiated profile and, in particular, a differentiated safety profile that has everybody excited.
Wonderful. Now, Craig, talk to us a little bit more specifically about the science underpinning of your lead candidate. I think you talked about this a little bit already, but can you give us a little bit of the scientific breakdown side of things?
Yeah, so with istaroxime, we had executed 2 different studies, a phase 2A, and after those positive results, a phase 2B, and people who were hospitalized due to the heart failure. So let me begin by saying we're focused with our products and the focus of our company on people that are in moments of crisis, when they're in hospitals, in critical situations, to pull them up out of that situation, as opposed to, say, a chronic therapy, some pill that you're taking every day to manage your disease. So we're this kind of critical hospital-based type of situations. And after 2 positive studies in heart failure, it was seeing this unique profile that not only were we improving the function of a heart that was failing, if you will, that we were uniquely doing it and seeing that we were also, because we're getting the pump to work better, the pipes were getting filled up with blood, blood pressure going up, perfusion to the body, perfusion to the kidneys, flow to them. And all of that is exactly what you're trying to achieve in people that are in acute heart failure, if you will. But it was that unique aspect of not dropping blood pressure, but instead filling up the pipes and kicking that up, besides getting the heart working better, that we decided to go down and study cardiogenic shock, this more severe condition associated with heart failure that's much more urgent. Because cardiogenic shock is this really attractive, significant market opportunity. It's about a $1.25 billion market. But these patients, they're in the hospital and their heart is failing so much to adequately pump out and perfuse the body and get flow that even vital organs are starting to be starved for oxygen and everything that comes with, the heart pumping out to them. And it becomes a medical emergency because when they're in full shock, the mortality is 30 to 40%. And there's really not been adequate therapies for the physician. So we decided to take our novel profile with this to that science that you're asking about and go study cardiogenic shock. And it still worked. And we've got really excited about the results, and it created a new program, and it could kick out quick milestones and ultimately gives us lots of options of what we do as a company strategically.
Excellent. Now, Craig, you also raised $12.4 million in a public offering in April. What have you used this cash for? What kind of runway does Windtree have as we look forward to the near and midterm future?
Yeah, so we after having these positive results in cardiogenic shock, right? We are now in a position that our focus is to close out phase 2 and transition. We've made cardiogenic shock the lead, right? And the first thing we wanted to do was make that our portfolio priority focus is cardiogenic shock. Put that in front of the bigger indication of heart failure that just takes longer and more money and so forth. Shock is just so attractive. We've moved it out front, made it a real capital efficient, lean organization, put all that into place, and put our worked with the top shock and heart failure guys in the US and Europe to come up with a great plan that would do these couple small studies to transition ISTA for shock into phase 3 and phase 3 readiness next year. So we did the raise and did a slightly upsized raise for us. Our S1 was $9 million, and we had great demand. So we took the max we could take on that filing, 12.4. And that combined with cutting our burn so dramatically has enabled us to put a lot at R&D to get these studies started up and rolling and so forth, particularly that dose optimization work that's starting this summer. And we'll have data readouts in the second half of next year. So we have a lot going on.
Wonderful. Craig, it's amazing insight that you've been able to give us just a short period of time here together. Certainly excited to see what's coming from Windtree next, and it's our pleasure to be able to have you on with us today. Thank you again for taking the time and joining us to share more.
Thanks, Michael. And if I may just add, please go to our website, www.windtreetx.com, to look at our public filings, find out the rest of the information on the company, and we look forward to keeping everybody updated.
Terrific. Craig Fraser, CEO of Windtree Therapeutics, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Michael.